We return to Renaissance London, where Doctor Simon Forman has been scolded by a querent patient who didn't like me actually agreeing with her. So we have to be a little bit more objective and not just agree with people. It seems being right is better than just being a yes man. Lesson learned here.
And that is a description done, for she was a lady. She's not a lady.
And this one has been proven time and again to be a tough customer. Emilia Lanier. We have it at her at 45, but I think we have actually made her upset almost every time. We did make her most pleased once, okay, and then little pleased, but then rather ill advice one of the times. Okay, let's see what we can do for her today.
Mistress Lanier, much time has passed since I last saw you. How do you fare?
In truth, not well, Dr. Forman, not well at all.
Then I am full sorry for it, madam. Pray, tell me what manner of ill has befallen you.
First, I must beseech your pardon, sir, for methinks Mr. S may verily be my prowler after all.
Oh.
As you did surmise.
Think nothing of it, madam. But what has made you change your mind about him?
I have been publicly humiliated. Mr. S has been circulating a collection of insulting sonnets about an unnamed dark lady, and all of London thinks this dark lady is me.
Well, your complexion is rather, that is to
I
say...
am described as having foul breath and black wires for hair. Though methinks the very worst line is the one that tells of a gross body rising at the utterance of my name. And I cannot abide illusions, Dr. Forman. If Mr. S wishes to reference bodily levitation and other such cheap stage magic, he would do well to leave my name out of it. My interest is in the dramatic arts, not fairground attractions.
I am not sure that is quite his meaning.
Dr. Forman, you know of Mr. William Shakespeare, then? Do not tell me you have read the sonnets.
Well, I own that I have. But as you did remark, madam, all of London has read them.
Oh, well, I am undone. My professional reputation is now utterly spoiled, for now the whole world will look upon me as naught but Mr. Shakespeare's fancy wench. No longer will they judge me on my own merits.
Let us hope it is not as grave as that, madam. Have you discoursed upon the matter with him?
Nay, I dare not confront him about it, for we are almost at an end with our work on a play, and I dare not risk it not being staged.
Then let us see what the stars advise. What may Mistress Lanier do to restore her professional reputation?
All right, we were right. Good. So now we've almost sealed this letter here. Emilia landed now at 80. So if we could give her a good reading today, we might have this one in the bank. 3 choices. My reputation has been sullied by William Shakespeare's bawdy poems. What should I do? Well, what do the stars tell us today? The House of Secrets. We have, this suggests dissatisfaction here. The moon falling in Scorpio shows adultery and intelligence. Mistress Lanier harbors secret thoughts of adultery which relate somehow to her intellect and her feelings of dissatisfaction. No, this does not seem right to me. No. House of Love and Romance. This suggests a reversal of ignorance. Mrs. Lanier is ignorant of her romantic feelings, and this must be reversed. Again, this does not seem accurate at all. Not from what we know of her. House of Children. This represents a sudden reversal of course. Indicates a reversal of life. Mrs. Lanier should abandon her career ambitions and revert to her true vocation. Bringing forth in life, she should have another child. Wow, this is not what she wants to hear. No. Okay. House of God's Help. This suggests constraint and discipline. God will help Mistress Lanier if she exercises constraint and discipline. House of Relationship with Querent indicates confusion. Mrs. Lanier is confused about her feelings for me? How interesting. No. Okay, final option then. House of relationships. This represents an arrogant man, Mr. Shakespeare, indeed. The relationship between Mr. Shakespeare and Mrs. Lanier is not an equal one. Shakespeare's arrogance will overshadow Emilia's contribution to the play they are writing. I think this sounds really sensible. I've never heard of an Emilia Lanier in my history lesson, so maybe I have and I disregarded it, and so case in point. House of Legacy, this suggests betrayal. Mrs. Lanier must find a way to dissociate her name from the sonnets. If she does not, her literary legacy will be betrayed by association with them. I think this is the sensible choice. This is also what she would want to hear, even though it's a tough pill to swallow. I think for her, if she wants to be acknowledged for what she has done, she needs to break off that professional relationship. Clearly, Mr. S is not doing what he could do to be in her best interest, right? Yeah, we'll go with C.
You are right to be concerned about the damage to your reputation, Mistress Lanier, for there is a danger that your partnership with Mr. Shakespeare and his depiction of you in his sonnets will forever overshadow your own literary achievements.
God's womb. But what can I do to forestall such an injustice?
I suggest you spread a rumour of your own.
Oh no.
About another lady. For instance, there is a brothel owner in Clerkenwell they call Black Luce. If you were to put it about that she is the subject of Shakespeare's sonnets, 'twould do her reputation no harm. Indeed, the effect would be quite the reverse, for doubtless there be many a man at present who would pay handsomely for a tumble with Shakespeare's dark lady.
Well, indeed. I do
that
feel
maybe
it
is
most
quite sensible.
important to advance the interests of my fellow women, especially those seeking to make their way in business. Oh, do you see that, Dr. Forman? 'Tis your mute Italian querent, Signor Ferraro. He is staring at us through the window.
Called it. He is totally the prowler.
Doubtless he has come for another consultation.
Interesting, because when we are meeting with Ferraro, I don't feel like he doesn't seem like the stalker type to me. Let's just have a look at his. At least we've not gleaned anything like that. He has a pain, and then he comes with an uncontrollable laughter and dancing colic. Have you remarked upon? He was burping everywhere, and then he was bleeding from the fundament. We diagnosed hemorrhoids, and he was a little pleased. He's not been more than a little pleased, but every time we haven't wronged him greatly. But he comes to me sick all the time. He doesn't speak as a stalker to me in any way. I'm not sure how I would deduce that. Anyway, the Querent did fear that her reputation had been defiled by poems of a bawdy nature, written by Mr. Shakespeare and currently being circulated around London. I did advise the Querent to spread competing rumor that the dark lady of Mr. Shakespeare's sonnets was a lady by the name of Black Luce, the brothel keeper in Clerkenwell. Methinks the Querent was pleased with me for the reading I gave this day. Da-da-da-da-da. Sweet. Second letter in the house. We need 8 of these, and this is only the second. That should net me an achievement for the game, at least. Not only shall I rescue my reputation, I shall be a good ally. I shall be a good ally to this. What was her name again? Ah, yes, Black Luce.
When it feels like a play, an Italian cliché. When it feels like a play, an Italian cliché. Ferraro, Signor Ferraro.
Okay, what do you have for us, Ferraro?
Hey, senor, and well met.
Tis I, Riccardo Ferraro, come once again to see the great Doctor Simon Forman.
Indeed, I did recognize you, senor. How may I assist you this day?
I am ill. I tell you my problems. First problem, I do make a chandar in the morning. Next problems, my belly does swell and my chest 'tis a most tender to the touch. And now, for the very most terrible of problems, I have the big fears. One moment I do weep, and the next I do curse and gnash my teeth. So, dottore, you tell what ails me, huh? You wanna make a... You wanna make a water into this cup? Un momento, I make a water.
Nay, not in my... prithee, hold. If you please, signor. As with our previous consultations, I shall be judging your illness by reading the stars.
So, you need not my...
Nay, signor, I have no need of it. Whilst 'tis true that most physicians do spy and sniff their patients' urine, I find this method of piss-pot diagnosis most imprecise. Indeed, the practice is quite primitive. 'Tis my belief that if medicine is to advance in this modern age, we must all adopt a more scientifical method. I am quite sure history will bear me out on this question.
This scientifical method. 'Tis reading my diagnosis in the stars?
Precisely so. Speaking thereof, perchance we may consult the stars now. What illness troubles Signor Riccardo Ferraro?
I think he's faking it. He's coming here with fake symptoms, trying to make me make bad diagnoses. And he's clearly prowling my patients. I'm so confused by him. Suffer from a swollen belly, tender chest, chuntering and moodiness. What ails me? Well, you're pregnant. But that doesn't make sense, of course. I am not sure what to say here. Ruler of the brain. Senor Ferraro is troubled with apoplexy, a condition of the brain provoked by a sudden fit. It affects sensory perception and causes swollen neck veins, memory loss, and gnashing of the teeth. Okay, that does make sense. This indicates the illness will get worse before it gets better. We have the ruler of the chest. Mild imbalance of color, yellow bile. Senor Ferraro suffers from mattering in the breast, which is a gathering of corrupt matter in the chest area, occasioning pain in the breast. Okay. Senor Ferraro is with child, ruler of the reproductive system, indeed. This indicates a psychological factor denial. Swollen belly, tender chest, chuntering and moodiness. What ails me? That could be this thing over here, apoplexy. A condition of the brain provoked by a sudden fit. It affects sensory perception and causes swollen neck veins, memory loss, and gnashing of the teeth, which he did mention. I'm half a mind to think that he's coming here expecting me to diagnose him as being with child, and I think it would be funny. I think the fact that it's here is not a coincidence, right? It's an option. But, I mean, that's not what's happening. Of course. So, screw you, Ferraro. I'm gonna diagnose you with what I think your symptoms you described to me are. I think he's a fraud. He's a fake. He's trying to make me make bad diagnoses or something. Anyway.
Senor, you have been stricken by a condition known as apoplexy. I will have my manservant bleed you from the arm, then apply beaver musk to your nose to induce sneezing, thereby drawing phlegm away from the brain.
But my problems, they are the swollen belly, the chuntering, the tenderness, and the big mood. How can it be, this apoplexy?
Apoplexy is an affliction of the brain which can both trick the senses and induce, large moods. The stars suggest this condition was given you by a witch. A most capricious witch, I warrant, for the condition has tricked your mind into feeling all the symptoms of being with child. And verily, 'tis not possible for you to be with child, signor. Unless, of course, that moustache of yours is naught but a cunning disguise. But I jest, signor. 'Twas not my intention to doubt your manliness.
You jest! A lady who would disguise herself as a man? So silly. I think you see too many plays by Mr. Shakespeare, huh? Riccardo Ferraro bids you good day.
Maybe that is what is happening. He does not, like, there's the voice, and if you look at the character, it doesn't strike me as a female in men's clothing. But it could be. Maybe. But why would he be a prowler then? Or she. I'm so confused by this character. The current did present me with symptoms of a tender chest, swollen abdomen, involuntary upward purging, and moodiness. I did diagnose apoplexy, though as the current correctly pointed out, his symptoms did not match this diagnosis. Methinks the current was pleased with me for the reading I gave this day. Okay, he was pleased. Good. God's blood, that was a close shave. So, if it was a lady in clothing, we have told that lady that you are with child, because you are suffering all the symptoms, but I recognize your disguise, and you're telling me that you're a man. So here is, if you are a man, here is the diagnosis I would give the man with the same symptoms. That would be good for the patient. Like we gave her both diagnoses, and she walks away knowing better, whatever. Nicholas Mugg is back.
Good day, Mr. Mugg. Pray tell, did the matter with the cherries resolve itself in the end?
Aye, indeed. I did tell my friend, Mr. Sprottle, what you said about how my shouting at him was owing to an upset of bile in my spleen. I also did speak to him on the evils of onions. I think he was most interested.
And what may I assist you with this day, Mr. Mugg?
I have the spotted fever. I must begin treatment now, or else I will...
Hold, sir. The spotted fever is exceeding rare. Why would you think you have such a disease?
Well, sir, not only am I covered all over in red spots, I have lately taken to chundering, such as are the very symptoms listed in the medical book I did read. I am already taking the treatment Mr. Cogan prescribes, but now I require...
You mean to say you have read Thomas Cogan's Haven of Health? Why, that is a most technical book, written for doctors and medical students. How did you come to be reading it?
My friend George Sprottle did bind a printing of it in his shop. He kindly let me spy some pages afore 'twas sent up to Cambridge. Oh, but Dr. Forman, I forget myself. You have no medical degree, so you doubtless have not read it. Mayhap if I ask George nicely...
Sir, let us consult the stars and see if they may tell us what ails you.
This guy. Treat me for the spotted fever, he says. Nicholas Muck, 50 out of 100 currently. Scorpio, ruler of the privy member, hypochondria. Suggests mild imbalance of phlegm. Muck suffers from hypochondria induced by the appearance of benign pimples on the privy member. Ruler of the stomach indicates a mild imbalance of yellow bile and choler. And we have ruler of the skin. This suggests the illness is chronic but intermittent. Muck has the spotted fever. He doesn't have the spotted fever. He is taking medicine for something that he is not sick with, so his body is reacting to the medicine clearly, right? Ruler of the privy member. Yeah. Not sure about this one, but I think that makes sense to me. We don't get a lot of information here. I'll go with my gut and say, hehe, gut. Ruler of the stomach, indeed.
You did say you are taking the treatment the book describes, did you not? 'Tis Gerolog and Hammock, I believe. Well, I suspect you are taking far too much of both, occasioning evil digestion. Indeed, these medicines are purgatives. 'Tis no wonder you suffer from upward purging.
I'm not sure I take your meaning.
To be short, you are not ill, Mr. Mugg. The red spots on your person are doubtless occasioned by fleas or lice. I bid you heartily to abstain from reading books that you do not understand. Pray leave your medical care to me next time.
Well, verily, Dr. Forman, I do hope you speak true about my condition, for if you speak false, there may never be a next time. According to Mr. Cogan, the spotted fever does oft end in death. One thing more, if you please, Dr. Forman, for I feel I must give ye warning.
A great storm is coming. I feel it in my bones, and my bones do always speak true. You would do well to bide indoors at the first sign of wind and rain. God keep you well, Dr. Forman.
Well, if he comes back, he's gonna agree with me, as always. Yeah, he took my advice. Still, the current did present with red spots and involuntary upward perching. I did diagnose evil digestions and fleas. That makes sense to me. So he'll be coming back, and he's gonna be just fine. Now that common folk know how to read, we shall soon have no more need of doctors. All right.
Almighty God, thy servant Thomas Black, reach forth thy gracious hand, and slap sense into him.
Nice. So last time we saw him, he asked me about the trip to El Dorado, in which I told him that that's gonna end poorly, and he became mad at me, but I was right. So let's see if we score some points. We also gave some bad advice to his wife. But
Good morrow, Dean Blagg. How fare you this day?
Well, Dr. Forman, I must own that I do not fare well, for my recent investments have left me in a rather vexing financial position.
Verily, that is ill to hear.
Aye, Sir Walter Raleigh's quest for El Dorado failed most woefully, just as you predicted. His ships did return loaded with naught but a few sacks of worthless root vegetables. I cannot fathom it. We are Englishmen. We do not eat vegetables.
Aye, a disappointing outcome indeed.
Oh, but that is all by the by, for you will be pleased to know that I put my remaining fortune into a new venture so assured of success that I will make all my money back and more.
Assured, you say? How very reassuring.
I have invested in an expedition to intercept a fleet of Spanish ships carrying gold back from the New World. For this expedition, Sir Walter Raleigh will be joined by that famous military genius, Robert Devereux, the Earl of Essex, so success is virtually guaranteed. There is but one small worry, however.
Ah, only one?
Aye. 'Tis that Raleigh and Essex set sail full 2 months past, but there is yet no tidings of them. Such silence is a trifle vexing. Have they yet captured the Spanish treasure ships? Surely no ill has befallen them.
A most vexing mystery indeed. Let us see whether the stars can tell us what has become of this expedition.
Oh boy. Well, will my investment in an expedition to capture the Spanish treasure ships pay off? House of the Current. This suggests creativity and indicates laziness. Black is a lazy fantasist who indulges in excess of creative thinking. Yeah, that sounds about right. House of Good Angels. This represents time and aging. Angels will vest their blessings upon Black, but he must be patient. Okay. Yeah. The House of Finances. This represents domesticity. The moon shines its benevolent light upon the Black family fortune. Okay. House of God's Help. This represents instinct. God has granted Black good intuition. Wouldn't say so. House of Foreign Countries. This is just violence. Blood is being shed. A violent battle is being waged in foreign clime. Yeah, that seems about right. Okay, that's the positive one. House of Secrets. This represents an untrustworthy authority. The expedition has been endangered by secret information from an untrustworthy authority. Untrustworthy? How dare the stars show shade upon my own honor thus? My skill in reading navigational coordinates in the stars is unimpeachable. This is kind of funny. House of Legacy. This indicates a reversal due to carelessness. Black has been careless with his financial legacy. And House of Business Partners. This represents a reversal of fortune a backwards transformation. Raleigh and Essex are sailing their ships in the wrong direction and will suffer a reversal of fortune. But how would I know? I think we'll go with B. This is positive thinking, giving him some good, just like a pat on the shoulder, saying God is with you. He's gonna like that. This is saying he should be patient and not worry. And then there's the negative one, which is the realistic one. But if it ends up being that my initial prediction was right, then this is gonna backfire, which is 50-50 as far as I'm concerned. We might as well just have positive thinking, give him the clap on the shoulder, and send him on his way.
Wondrous tidings! Your family's fortune is soon to be restored, and you may thank God for it was he that inspired you to invest in such a well-led expedition. Raleigh and Essex have come upon the Spanish treasure fleet, and a violent battle off the coast of Spain is being waged this very hour.
Verily, blessed day! O Heavenly Father, I give thanks unto thee for both thy mercy and thy business savvy.
But what about me? Give me some points. The current did wish to know whether his investment in an expedition to capture Spanish gold would pay off. I did tell the current that the expedition would be successful. Methinks the current was pleased with me for the reading I gave this day. So close. Well, that's bad, because next time we see him, he's gonna either be mad at me and we might lose a ton of points, or we'll go and complete it. I wonder what Mrs. Black has been ordered for dinner. Would it be swan pie? Swan pie. All right. And with that out of the way, it's time to end this episode. As always, thank you guys for watching. See you tomorrow, and this is Keejchen signing off. Bye-bye.